the minutes. Are there any changes? Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes. Second by Mick, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, we don't have any correspondence, okay. Report is, president report, as far as my team position goes, I think it's getting there, it's still gonna be a little while before I'm okay. And I'm glad to see Mark here this morning. I appreciate you coming out. I know it's a lot of airport and walking and stuff. And, just want to let everybody know that we're gonna probably let guests in the clubhouse, start using the clubhouse for the week of the June 14th. So everybody be aware of that. I've talked to the health committee, that's what they want to do. So we're gonna meet one more time with him, 11th, I think it is. That's all I have, so, Carol's got a report she's gonna read.
Is it working? Hello?
Give it a minute, sorry. Okay.
Hello? Am I? I can't hear it. Okay, you guys can hear me? No.
Testing 1, 2.
That's better, thank you.
Testing 1, 2.
That's what? Hello?
Speak up.
I am. Hello?
We gotta get you a microphone.
Okay, we're working, all right. Good Lord. Okay, in the parking lot over by the pool, a tree had to be removed because the roots were lifting up the asphalt. It was difficult to find someone to fill the hole with asphalt because it's such a small job. We have scheduled All American U-Cart concrete to fill the hole with black cement that will blend in with the asphalt. The cost is $1,491 and should be done sometime this week. The guard shack flooring is old and worn and needs to be replaced. We have purchased new waterproof laminate flooring to be installed. The estimated cost of the laminate, labor, and molding should be between $600 and $700. We will have rubber mats installed right inside the entrances. We would like to thank Friday Night Bingo, Charles and Mary's Feast, and the ladies of Brookridge for their contributions to the pavilion handrail. With their contributions and using $700 from the clubhouse wish list, we now have enough money to have a handrail rail installed. Again, a big thanks to our donors. The end. The end. See, no one can hear me.
Carol,
The end.
There you go.
Carol, that money you mentioned, 1491, is the golf course paying for that? Is that their property?
If this works, I'll let you know. They took the tree down, they paid for that, so we're gonna pay for the cement to be installed.
Okay.
Carol?
And you might.
Carol, my understanding was with the golf course, they were gonna pay for the stump removal also. So did we pay anything toward that?
No, we're just paying for the cement.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Just to clarify, is that property BCPO?
It's right on the line.
Okay,
The parking lot, the trees on the common area and the parking lots on the golf course, from what we can see.
but that is helpful to us because I understand that that those spaces are gonna be for the pool, it can be used for anything, but it's gonna be helpful for the pool, is that right, Jimmy? Yeah.
The spots belong to Brookridge. They've always been part of the Brookridge clubhouse parking lot, okay? And, whether they were lined out for no SUVs, that's way beyond my control as far as when that came about. It's been years and years and years ago. So we wanna get no SUV lines, no vans in there, let's do it. But they belong to the clubhouse.
So actually,
When you're taking a picture from the satellite and you see it, I mean, it's within a foot, 2-3 feet from, you know, a couple thousand miles away. I mean, pavement's been there all this time, it's always been community property. So there is an easement there, so, with anything,
actually, the golf course ended up helping us because now we have more.
it was twofold in that too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to the new business now, unfinished old business, AC Colorado extract.
ACC guideline topic.
On your mic, please.
Sorry, Carol.
Let the habit. Thanks, Alan. Topic, ACC Guidelines, Article 3.31, Jacuzzi hot tubs. Analysis, update the ACC guidelines to streamline processing. Recommendation, changes to Article 3, Section 3, .31, Jacuzzi hot tubs, see attached. Proposed motion, motion to approve the AC changes as submitted, it was tabled before, so we brought it back up. Current, 3.31, Jacuzzi hot tub shall not be placed in front of the back wall, example, rear plane or home. Proposed, 3.31, Jacuzzi hot tubs shall not be placed in front of the back wall, rear plane of the home unless installed under roof of existing enclosed lanai, existing, enclosed porch or carport. Units shall use installed in the carport must meet the minimum obstructed length and the width required by the stated ACC guidelines, 3.08. It must be screened at the front and carport side to shield jacuzzi, hot tub, and occupant from view. Suitable screen material with lattice, live folding screens, and screen panels. 3.08 reference. Carport shall be within 20 feet, 8 foot wide, by any egress or ingress stairs or landings. Let's take a motion on this.
I'll make a second on that.
Any discussion on this?
You gotta vote first.
Mark seconded.
Okay.
Carol, I need a lesson on the mic.
I'd like to thank the ACC for coming back with, tighter regulations and, you know, as long as, and that was one of the things that we didn't want to see people in the jacuzzi. That's something that happened a long time ago, and it was a problem, and that's why the jacuzzis had to go in the backyard. I wouldn't have agreed to this, but under the new restraints, they will be clearly out of view of the public as people are going by, and that we keep the 20 foot long and 8 foot wide unobstructed ingress and egress stairs or landings. So I thank the ACC committee for coming back and clarifying that.
Any other discussion? Any questions from the audience? Okay, all in favor of approving this motion, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Looks like it unanimous. Okay, now we're going to new business and talk. Larry, who's gonna talk about the audit?
I think I can talk for about a half hour. Well, we'll try again. Can you now?
Yes, sir.
All right. I think I'll be here for a half hour, so adjust your seating. The first thing I have to talk about is our annual financial audit. As you know, the audit, the company that always has done our audit, for I don't know how many years, but they, for some reason, never got it done. We were told that they had a death, the person that was doing it had a death in the family. A couple weeks later, they still hadn't done anything, so we ended up firing them. We have hired a new company called, Bashore and LeGrand. We're trying to hire one. It'll be up today. Financial audit and tax return preparation. The analysis is an HOA audit is when accounting procedures are applied to financial records to determine whether the financials are properly stated. It involves examining and reviewing the financial statements and discussing internal controls. An audit will take a look at annual assessments and encompass vendor contracts and payments along with examining the sufficiency of the reserves. Bayshore and LeGrand LLP has submitted a proposal for $10,000 for the annual audit and $295 for the tax preparation. This proposal speaks about special circumstances and will add additional fees. So the recommendation that I have for the board is to approve Bayshore and LeGrand LLP to perform the annual audit and tax return preparation. The proposed budget is to move to Bayshore and LeGrand LLP to perform the financial audit and tax return.
Second.
Any discussion?
Hey, one thing, how long has the company been around?
I don't know.
Oh, just ask, just
I
ask.
don't know.
This is a company that has been around for many years. They specialize in HOA audits. They also specialize in helping, HOAs who have, either have new HOA personnel. Somebody might be, if somebody passes away or gets sick or has to leave suddenly, this is a company that normally comes in and helps to help our books and audit our books to make sure that everything is fine until we get a HOA personnel. That would be bookkeeper and sometimes the general manager.
Or anybody?
What's their timeframe to getting their audit and everything?
We haven't talked to them about the time frame yet. We have to send them a check. They want $5,000, I think, down, and we'll provide that this week if we pass it. And then we can talk to them and find out. I've got their phone numbers, I've got their address and everything, so I can talk to them once we get them some money so that they'll know that we're serious.
And I imagine they have to look at our books before they can say a timeframe, so.
Yeah, I would think so too. They've got to have an idea what we have, yes. That's right.
Okay, good.
You can hear me, yay. The books have been sent over electronically through QuickBooks, he's already reviewed them, that's how he came up with the price, he's already had them.
And he does know that we're on a time frame. The other company did do a 6-month, extension and did not tell Brookridge that they already filed an extension. We did not find out until we talked to this other company.
Any other discussion? Any discussion from members of the audience? All right, come on up, we got one back there. Name and your number.
I'm Roger Logan, and I'm in Unit 4. I was just wondering, are they gonna take any bids for this from any other company? You know, we're taking, not taking any quotes.
We have checked, we have checked into other companies. What has happened is most companies are already in the business because, they're overloaded because it was late for us to do this. The other reason is that there are very few specialized companies that deal with HOAs. And HOAs is definitely a different entity than a regular business or personal.
We also had another bid that was 8,000, 9,000, but wasn't sure what the final was gonna be, and it put us probably over $10,000. So that's the reason for looking at this company, because they give us that bid.
When we looked at, changing from masters because we were having trouble with them, we couldn't find hardly anybody that would entertain doing an HOA audit. And just like Gail said, they're hard to find. They're very hard to find. So I'm amazed they did find these people.
Actually, there's probably about 12 to 15 in the whole state.
These guys are located in Tampa, if you know that.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor of this motion, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, now we're going to the finance committee, and that's Larry Hughes also.
Topic is the finance committee for Brookridge SLP 8.2. The analysis of the finance committee is an advisory committee consisting of 5 to 7 members set up to assist with the budget preparation and analysis, review the facts, gather information and alternatives. The company's conclusions and recommendations are reported to the BOD. The BCPL treasurer serves as a chairperson and can select committee members and submit the names to the board of directors for approval. The committee shall follow all the same notice, quorum, minutes, and voting requirements imposed by the BOD. My recommendation is to approve these members, Beverly Epstein, Dave Fagan, Michael Garantano, Anna Webster, and Tom Willington to serve on the committee, on the 2021 Finance Committee. The resumes for the board are attached.
Second by Rosemary, do we have any discussion? Sorry, Val? Do we have any discussion? Discussion by members in the audience? We got what? We got 2 on the second row, just coming up.
You guys give you a copy of what we want to talk about.
Mary Story, Unit 6, Wendy Walls, Unit 4. What we would ask is if we can read out questions and then have them addressed by Director Hoops, please. First question is, what is the date of the 8.2 SOP that you are using to format this committee? Secondly, according to the agenda, it appears that you're using an 8.2 SOP to form this committee, and that is an outdated SOP. Are you aware that on October 21st, 2020, at the board meeting, the previous board unanimously approved the changing of the 2016 8.2 SOP for the Finance Committee back to the August 13, 2015 8.2 SOP, making the Finance Insurance Committee a year-round committee which would work with the auditors, review insurance policies, prepare the following year's budget, reserve funding. The paperwork is attached there showing you the minutes where it was approved and the 2 different SOPs. Question is, are the residents that are going to be appointed to this committee today aware that they will be serving as a year-round committee, and are they willing to do this? With the concerns the present board appears to have over our finances, are you planning to wait to the 2020 audit is complete before starting the 2022 budget preparation, so that this committee is working with accurate figures? The Finance Committee relies on the reports that they are received from the bookkeeper to know what the financial needs of the community will be for the upcoming year in order to establish the HOA fees. Lastly, as both of us are prior members of the 2020 Finance Committee, we would like to correct a statement that was made by Acting President Gail Metcalf at the April workshop meeting. She stated that the capital contribution fee was not a recommendation by the Finance Committee. This statement is totally inaccurate. The Finance Committee did in fact bring forth and suggest to the Board of Directors the establishment of a capital contribution fee. The proposal is also attached to the paperwork that you have.
The question, your first question that you had was the 8.02 SOP. When I read that, I can't say the date, but it was the one that was in the treasurer's book.
Then unfortunately, the administration office has not kept your director's books up to date, because it was definitely passed in October of 2020 that we revert back, and I think Rich and Mark, both of you can attest to the fact that that was reverted back to a year-round committee. It is unfortunate if the director's books weren't kept up.
I'm sorry, what I had did not state that in my book. I know it didn't. I don't have it in front of me.
So I really think that, well, you have it in your paperwork there.
Well, I got what's in the paperwork, yes, I understand that.
So
But I will look at that.
how can we go again with putting a committee in place when the committees don't know what they actually need to be responsible for? That the fact that they need to be all year round? Do you plan on changing that SOP?
We do know that there are no finance committee members that are not year-round. They're not, they all have.
It is not a question, again, of them being year-round members. It's a question that the committee itself is a year-round committee now, no longer just a budget committee that runs from June to September when they present the budget to the board.
I will find that out for you, and we'll have a response for you on the next meeting. Is that fine?
Do you plan to go ahead with the
Yeah,
formation of this committee?
I'm going with the formation.
How can you do that? Because these people do not know that this is what their responsibilities are going to be.
That's why I said I would have you an answer at the next meeting. I will talk to all of them between now and then.
So if they don't agree to it, then they'll be removed from the committee, is what you're saying.
No, I didn't say that. I said I would talk to all of them.
Okay, so you're going to speak with them to see if they're willing to serve year-round, and if they don't want to serve year-round.
I will have to find someone else to take their place.
Okay. And what about the question as far as when are you planning to start the budget preparation?
I think our first one will be toward the end of this month, into June.
Okay, and if you don't have your audit completed, then you're going to provide the committee with figures that could possibly be very inadequate?
Well, I hope we have it back by then. Gotta be able to start something. I gotta get it started. I know that. But there's things we can do, I believe, on the finance committee that we can get started with. I believe when we look into that, we can do things.
All those figures are received from the bookkeeper. So if those figures are not accurate, all of the work will be fruitless until you get accurate figures. And you just got done saying that you don't have a time frame as to when the audit is going to be completed.
No, I don't.
So is it not a waste of time to start a budget preparing when you don't possibly have accurate figures?
No, I don't think so. I think we need to get started. I think there's things we can do, whether we have it from the bookkeeper yet or not. Everybody knows that minimum wages are going up. Maybe y'all don't know that, but they are. Next year they're going up another $1. So I think there are some things that we can work on.
Okay, but what you
That's
have
the
to
best I
work
can
with
do.
also is what you have as actual figures. You have to have your figures to know what monies you're working with. If your figures are not accurate, as you guys have a concern with, then what money do you know how you can offset?
Mary can get you.
We won't know. We just emailed him last week, the auditor, to find out how long it would take him to get the books back with a three-day weekend. We haven't heard back. It might be at my office. I don't know. And they haven't answered. I don't know at this time.
Okay, but if it takes them 2 months or a month and a half, and you're preparing a budget for this development to have their HOAs done,
We would like to
Based
have
on
the correct
inaccurate.
figures before we start, but like you said, there are some things that we can start with. Can I tell you off the top of my head? No.
okay. We also do not have to turn in a budget to the board until September. That gives us plenty of time to at least figure out what it is that we need to do this year, and then as soon as those figures come in, then we can adjust. There are certain things that need to be done, and that is, you know that the utilities must be covered. We know that there are certain things that must be covered. That includes the raises. So it's kind of premature to say that we don't know how to work. There's nothing we can do until we have the accurate figures. But there are fees and bills that must be paid every year. So we can start with those, and then when we get the accurate figures, then we can move forward. But at least they need to get started. And I believe that Larry said at the last meeting that it's going to be more of a meet and greet for this one year. Let us know the status, and then we can. Are you stating that the figures from last year are inaccurate? I didn't say anything about last year's figures. You're talking about the figures we're talking about the figures to go ahead with, and the figures that you're pulling from this year, 2021, not last year. When you do the 2022 budget, you're using the figures from 2021. Okay, and that will let you know, that gives you exactly what you spent. And you guys have numerous times maybe said that you have extreme concerns over what the figures are. Some of those concerns are not just operating budgets, some of those concerns are reserves.
Yes, very much aware of that.
Right,
I
but,
worked on the finance committee for 2 years, so I actually know how this
absolutely,
functions.
Can I have a copy of that?
But to
absolutely.
turn around and put a committee in that is not aware of what they need to be qualified for because you're using an incorrect SOP is absolutely an atrocity. Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughts. If I could just add something to that, because my name is on there, Mary. The capital contribution fee cannot be voted on by the board of directors. It has to be voted on by the people. That's all. I'm
aware of that, Gail, but you made the statement that the finance committee did not in any way, shape, or form propose this to the board of directors. It was absolutely in our proposal. There were 4 items. So just
Exactly.
Gretchen said it straight, that was a proposal by the finance committee, and it did not come from the board of directors.
And I did not say that. What I said was the finance committee,
Go back to the.
we're not gonna have this discussion. All we know is that it must be a vote of the people. And we could not do that contribution fee until there's a vote of the people. And that could very well come up with the finance committee this time. But the board did not follow through the correct way. That is all I stated.
Any other discussion? Questions or comments? All those in favor of voting for these people to be on the finance committee, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand, please. Any opposed? Okay, pass unanimously. All right, the paving bids were reduced.
Okay, the last thing I have for you is, paving of the roads. We had, sent out bids to 5 different companies, I believe. We got them all back. The bids were opened down at the office on the 19th of May. President, or at the bid opening was President Foster, first Vice President Metcalf, myself, and the General Manager, Carol Webster. And the low bid that we got was from a company called Azarelli Paving, and I believe that's the same company that they have been getting the last 2 years. And the low bid this year is $123,525. So my recommendation is to approve the bid from the contractor Azarelli Paving. It is year 7 of a 10-year plan. The other thing you might want to know is the roads that are going to be paved this year are Fitzpatrick, DeHaven, Divine, Mariana, Midfield, Mina, and Fort. They're the streets that are on the paving plan for this year. So I would like to propose a motion to approve Azarelli Paving for $123,525 from the reserve funds and site elements.
Do we have a second? Second by Ray Green. All in favor, well, excuse me, do we have any discussion as to whether to pay? Okay, go ahead, Val.
Okay, when I went out and looked at these roads, they obviously need repaving. But, one of my concerns is that's one of the areas that at Haven and Brookridge, that the DRE is 3 inches. It's got a 3-inch inlet to let all that water drain off. If we're gonna add an inch of pavement, I'm worried that, they should be corrected first, rather than could Billy maybe or Carol address or get back to us about how they could fix this drainage situation at the Haven and the Boulevard, because, it'd be a shame to have all that water pile up trying to go into now a 2-inch hole. And that would cause the asphalt to fail. So that's one of my questions. I noticed that on this bid, there's nothing about the manhole risers. Would that be? The city does that, okay. And when we sent out the bids, I'm seeing all sorts of different square yards. Did we request that, did we look at the reserve, study, which says that for that area, it's 17,370 square yards? Because this bid is for 20,000, which is 3,372 more than what the reserve study showed. And then a different bid was 18,888. And then, of course, another bid, Geneva. It just says it's 3, so maybe that's the safer way to go. Those are my, concerns about, the DRE and the square footage.
I know Billy, I think, went out and worked with them on that, and drove around each one of the streets. So the companies are the ones that decided, it's like, what did you say, 3,000? It was so many square yards more than what the bid was originally, or what the layout you just read?
The reserve study says there's 17,378. But Azarelli says there's 20,750.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering where this 3,372 square yards of asphalt's going. Are we gonna put in another
Parking lot? Want another parking lot?
Well,
No.
Billy, that's what happened one time. We got a
Really?
concert.
Billy said, when he does this with the people who do paving, none of their figures match ours. Also, the prices have changed on the reserve too, but I don't know, he said to me, it's not matching, none of them are matching, anytime we have to do the paving, and I can't tell you why.
Any other discussion, Bob?
Okay, I'll say it. The mobilization fee. The last time Azarelli did it, they charged us $500 for the mobilization fee and then $1,200 for traffic control. And this time, we're paying $2,500 for mobilization. I do recall that our public works did traffic control. So it seems like a really big jump to go from 500 for mobilization to 2,500. Could we push back on this a little bit before you sign it, that's all?
Yeah, I think we can ask, yeah, why not? We can go back to them. Yeah, we haven't had a meeting with them,
Yeah.
you know, for a time frame or anything yet either, so, yeah, we can push back.
Okay, do we have a motion to table this? Any other discussion? Don't want to say.
Good morning. Vivian Blair, Unit 4. I used to work for a paving company, so I know a little bit. My question is, since we have this paving company, would they take care of that spot that's out here? Did anyone think to ask them about that?
We
Since
can't ask,
they're gonna be here, because I know if you're getting a truck of asphalt, it's cheaper when you get more. So if that's just a little bit, did anybody ask to see if they could do that?
We didn't, but we can do that in our pushback too.
That is
Good,
one
good
of the
idea.
things we're gonna talk
Very good
about.
idea.
Thank you.
Billy did ask, I was under the impression that you guys didn't wait that long, because we haven't even started talking to Azarelli, and you wanted to close here sooner. So, if I misunderstood, I'm sorry.
I think those are some of the things that if this is passed, then we go in and we do the details, we do the details, see if there's something that we can do.
Okay, well, my problem is that the cement gentleman may be here today, he's scheduled for this week.
Okay,
So that's him, so I need to know.
All right, someone
Let me know after the meeting, please.
If we cancel them, and we get it for nothing, we save ourselves almost $1,500. What, a couple phone calls?
Right, and that's where we have to ask Azarelli, like, right after the meeting.
If you watch them, when they did the paving around the area, they had excess asphalt, and they just made the corners bigger. That's all they did. They let it down, and they made the corners rounder. So they have the excess, instead of taking it back, they used it.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay, no other discussion. Do we have a motion to table this? Do we want to table?
No, we
No.
have a motion.
Okay, motion to approve, all in favor of hiring Azarelli.
How are we gonna prove it if we don't know what we're doing with it yet? Make the phone calls.
This is, what
Yes.
this is,
Let's table it and get taken care of.
okay, the the only problem is that getting the materials. We know that everybody is having trouble getting the materials. If there is a problem, we can always take it back to the board and ask to deny their, to bring that back. But unless we speak with them, we can't speak with them until something is approved. And then you iron out the details.
Jerry, another problem we had, last year, we had a couple sod companies come in, and their trucks ruined our fresh asphalt we just had put down, and we ended up paying to have those roads refixed because the homeowners wouldn't do it, and the sod people wouldn't do it after I made several calls to them. Now, Carol, am I right about that? We had to end up paying to have them redo that?
I wasn't here.
That's right. Why didn't you come sooner?
How, if we table this, what do you think will happen, with getting our roads done? Because it's gonna be a couple of weeks before we can,
I don't think 2 weeks is gonna hurt anything if you wanna wait. If you're more comfortable doing that, you might as well wait 2 weeks.
I'd like to amend the motion to the emotion. I like that, folks.
Motion.
How about, amend the motion and the table it for 2 weeks, and then we'll, no more, and we'll get back to y'all on what we're gonna do then.
Second by Rosemary. We have a motion to table it. All in favor of tabling that, tabling the Israeli paving. Raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. I guess come up on this one here. New business with pool regulation. It's section, addition to Article 3, Section 1, D. And it's for the exercise hours to be amended in the, I ain't putting in the book, it's going to 9 AM. It says 9 AM excluding Monday and Thursday, when reserved for aquatic exercise, 9 AM to 10 PM, to 10 AM, I'm sorry. We had a discussion about those. And I have a motion, I'm making a motion for that to be approved. Second by Phil Metcalf. Have any discussion?
Aren't they using the pool as is right now for exercise between 9 and 10 for the last how many years?
it was not in the
You got me to take it?
Go ahead,
rules.
go ahead. Go on your mic, please.
Good morning, everyone. A couple years back, I believe it was 2018, when we amended the pool rules for the Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning exercise class. And we amended the pool hours to open up at 8 o'clock in the morning versus 9 o'clock every day. That was in retrospect to provide our residents an hour before the mornings of Monday and Thursday, to allow them to come in and use the pool at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and then on Mondays and Thursdays from 9 to 10 for the exercise when Millie Foster used to have class with Millie Bro. And that language was discarded out of the pool rules, on accident back in 2018. And it was brought to my attention about a couple months ago that this verbiage was not in our pool rules at the pool. So that's why the board is reinserting them into the, pool rules, so there's no issues with the pool. Thank you.
Thanks, Vince.
Still got a question, come on up.
Stella Humphrey, Unit 4. Stella Humphrey, Unit 4. Why would you shorten the pool hours in the summer when it's hot? You want to shorten them, why don't you wait until it gets cold and people aren't there at 8 o'clock?
We do. We're not shortening the pool hours on Mondays and Thursdays. Pool's open at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, well, why shorten them at all?
We're not.
Oh, you said 9 o'clock instead of 8.
No, the pool opens at 8 o'clock. The
The pool opens at 8 o'clock every day from 8 to 9 during the summer from daylight savings time, and from 9 to 8 during the winter time. We amended the pool hours from 8, opening at 8 o'clock at this time, but they excluded this verbiage in the pool rules to exclusively give the aqua exercise class
Right.
privacy for their class, that like it was before. Okay, it was just an overlook on the document, and that's why they're trying to reinsert it again.
Okay.
Vince, wasn't the deep end still open for people? I mean, Fred uses it all the time, the deep end.
That's correct, but that's all up to the person that's in charge of the class.
Got it.
And that's the way we used to do it, but that's the way it is now. But it's all up to the class. They seem to be, talking excessively and not being quiet, then they're asked to leave.
Okay, any other discussion? Go ahead, Paul, come on up.
Morning, Paul Campbell, Unit 2. So you're telling us that it'll be exclusive use for that 1 hour? Just for the aqua exercise class?
This class was always there. It was never removed from the board. This goes back years ago.
You just said exclusive use for the aqua exercise.
If the instructor deems that the people are being disrupted to the class, it's no different than a Tai Chi or a line dancing class that they're holding. If people are being disrupted, then they have to leave.
So you're not making it exclusive use?
It's not exclusive use.
Okay,
Just,
I just want to.
you know what I'm saying? It's not, it's just the way it is.
Any other discussion? Okay, it looks like, make a motion to accept. All in favor? Raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the rules and regulations have to do with a pool noodle. Again, we're addressing this. So it's article, we're gonna find what a pool noodle is. It's Article 3, Section 1, we're gonna add a definition of what a pool noodle is. The definition of a floating type noodle is an individual foam noodle not to exceed 63 inches and long and 3.5 inches in diameter. Make a motion to accept that into the rules and regulations. Do I have a second? Second by Rosemary. Do we have any discussion?
Maybe out there.
Okay, so lady up with the front.
Good morning. My name is Connie Hilliard, Unit 2.
Can't hear you.
My name is Connie Hilliard, Unit 2, and my concern is over this noodle that I have used for the past 7 years, 3 years at Kent Pine, 3 years in Alabama, and a year here. And now all of a sudden, I can't use it, and I'm just concerned, everything on it floats. And I'm just concerned of why it's not usable anymore. It doesn't seem to take up much room.
Nancy, take a look at that new one right there.
I don't know.
Is it modified? How much is modified?
I don't know what that means. What do you mean?
You modified the straw, you made it,
Oh, I just do the holes in here,
so
and
how,
stick the
so
noodle
the
in.
board of directors how it's considered. And what can potentially affect the person in the pool.
Well, I don't know what could affect the person.
Mhm.
I don't know what could affect the person in the pool.
If you take the wooden tees out and show.
Can I take them out? Yeah.
Plastic, aren't they, Connie? They
They float. They're wooden, bubbles. Hardly come apart.
Go ahead. Self-explanatory. Explain. I'm just doing this for everybody's safety in the pool, okay? It's got nothing to do with anybody personally, it's safety for the pool, that's my job to protect them and also you. Now, just imagine people out here, not yourself, are using a wooden key. Okay? Wooden keys sometimes get waterlogged and they don't float. And you get this jab in your heel. Now what's gonna happen?
I didn't know that.
They approved this noodle, who's responsible for it? Exactly. We allowed them to be in the pool because you're approving this. Okay? It's not that I'm against it. I'm trying to protect the association from this potential liability and safety issue. That's all I'm.
Any other discussion about that? Okay, let's take a vote on that. All in favor of making the motion to add those particular words to the rules and regulations. Raise your right hand and say aye. 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 None opposed. Okay, now we got report from directors, any committee reports and projects. Okay, go ahead, Val.
Okay, the social committee has a Father's Day poker run coming up, and we'd love to see you out there in your golf carts. However, if you don't have a golf cart, at the very end, we will allow the motorcycle or the cars to go, because the motorcycles and the cars can go a lot faster than the golf carts. I want the golf carts to have a nice, calm day. And then we're expecting a food truck with 3 different types of food. Next thing that I wanted to report for Petrona is the 4th of July celebration. Clubs. She's asking that every club donate a basket to be raffled off, and there will be a raffle, correct? So, hopefully every club will be able to donate a basket, not a big basket, $30, $50, something to be raffled off again. Let's try to make some money for Brookridge. Okay, thanks.
Will there be a fee for this?
For the basket, yes,
How about for the poker run?
yes, $5 donation, so feel free to donate more. What about 4th of July?
Free,
Free, and is there gonna be food at 4th of July?
yes, and entertainment.
Yes, and entertainment.
The plan for Fourth of July, the pool party, it'll start 11 o'clock and go to 1 o'clock for the food. We'll be doing, hamburgers and hot dogs, and chips, like we did last time. And also, I will bring the sound system out there from 11 to 1 from the South Hall and move it out to the pool so we can have some music out there. And from 1:30 to 3:30, Mission Street will be playing in the pavilion, live band. And, we'll go from there. And then we'll have a Chinese sauce, auction for the baskets. And, I believe, we try and get a liquor basket raffled off too. And there'll also be a standard, 50/50, that will be, given out for the day. That's what it,
Is that 50/50 or share the wealth?
you stick 50/50 and 50% given out and 50% going to the club house.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, got anything? I have nothing. Okay, about you, Bruce.
As you know, I'm the liaison to the Memorial Day and Veterans Day Committee, ceremonies, excuse me. I was a little bit perturbed to find out that there was a golf cart parade yesterday that I knew nothing about. I would have appreciated knowing this. I don't know who organized it or anything about it. In the past, I have been treated as a non-existent member of this board of directors. And I said when I chose to be reelected that I would not tolerate it again. It should have been a courtesy to let me know what was going on with Memorial Day. And I hope that we can work together to make Veterans Day a real success.
Okay, we'll go to Mr. Rich, got anything?
Nope.
Ray, got anything else to add?
Nope.
How about you, Kelly?
Just want to talk about the beautification committee. We asked, because we've lost most of our members, especially the guys that would normally use their trucks and water the plants. When we approached Billy offered to do it, and now I think the front is being done 3 times a week right now. And he is trying to, between his other jobs, to help with the boulevard. We're asking again, if you live on or near the boulevard, just take a couple of jugs of water out there and to water them. We have had an extremely dry season. It hasn't rained for like 40 days now, and it's hurting the plants that the beautification committee has planted for everyone's pleasure. So they're asking, I think it's down to maybe 4 or 5 people. The boulevard is 4 miles long. It's impossible to get it all out there. So again, we are asking people if they could please help. if you're interested, even just doing it for the summer, we have a meeting on Thursday at 10 o'clock at the pavilion. I think it's at the pavilion. If it's not, it's in room E. I'm not sure which way they've done it. So we are really asking for help to, help us all make, Boulevard beautiful.
Okay, I've got a reminder. Reminders we have town on Wednesday, started back every Thursday, 2 o'clock. And there'll be a pavilion out there, just so everybody knows. Also, a reminder that the guests are gonna be allowed in the week of the 14th. And I'm sorry, that's on the condition, I should have said that earlier, it's on the condition that variance doesn't get out of hand. So, but as of right now, it looks like the 14th, around the 14th of the month, we're on that. So now we're gonna open to member comments section. Anybody have any comments, anything, you're glad to come up. Okay, we've got second row.
Mary Story, Unit 6. Rosemary, no one left you out of anything. This is a group of residents got together. It's not a function that was done under the auspices of the Board of Directors. It's a group of residents. It's the second year in a row this was done, just to honor our fallen veterans. No insult was made. On the other hand, you insulted us by what you just said to us as residents. There's nothing wrong with a group of residents getting together and having something at the pavilion. Any place in this development, residents can get together. So if a group of residents got together to provide some unity for this community and some enjoyment and to honor our fallen vets, then I say more power to them. And you actually insulted the residents that took the time to put this together and provide it for our development.
Any other comments? Going second row.
I just have, Mary, is it possible from now on to advertise it? Where was it advertised? Was it in the news and views?
Next door neighbor, next door, online.
Okay, many of us don't get next door.
We requested and put a request in to Jerry Foster, who went to the general manager to ask if an email blast could be sent out to our residents to make them aware. Unfortunately, I was at fault and didn't this time be able to get it into news and views. Other things going on. There were posters put up with approval in the hall here at the admin office. We were told from President Foster via Carol that an email blast to make our residents aware of what was going on, to come out and participate, to come out and watch it, that was not an advisable thing. Because it would appear that the BOD was sponsoring it. What difference does it make who sponsors it? It was for the community, it was to honor our fallen vets. It could have been worded appropriately, but to answer your question, we put out as much as we were capable of doing and asked for more, but were denied.
It's just a question. I wasn't sure because I'm on next door. I'm not on that Brookridge site, but you did have it up.
There's a poster up the admin office.
Okay, that was my question. I don't know where it was posted. Okay, thank you.
Any, one second row, come on up.
My name is Donna McGuire. I live in Unit 3. I have a question for Mr. Keller. You said...
I can't hear her. Can you clean that maybe?
Okay.
She can put my
Mr. Keller, you said something about that when the paving was done, that 5 people and everything came in, ruined it. They would not fix it. Why are these people still allowed to come in? Can't we say, if you come into Brookridge and you destroy anything, you pay for it, or you don't come back in?
That's why I I brought it up at this meeting because I wanted Mr. Foster and also the first vice president to know this, what happened last year, because we had trouble. I called and talked to these people that laid the sod, and they said, take us to court, you know?
Then we should, or just
Well, it
deny it
costs
back
us
in
more
front
money to
office.
take them to court than pay to have it
Can't we deny them
repaid.
access in?
Pardon?
Can't we deny them access at the gate?
Well, that's one thing we need to work on. That's one thing we need to work on, because anything that comes in that day when these roads are gonna be done, we need to know where they're going to be going, like a moving truck, or, you know, a sod company, or a brick company coming in to put bricks down for somebody. We need to know where they're gonna go so they don't tear our streets up, and let them know that you can't go down these streets, or there's gotta be some way we can work on this and make it work into our favor. Because that's the problem I had last year. And Billy and I worked on this, we couldn't get them to pay for it or anything else. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I just, in years past though, there was notices sent out to all the people on those streets to make sure that nothing like this had happened before, so that it wouldn't happen again. So that's something that we definitely will look into again, because they used to be told. I don't know when they stopped, but they were, so that they wouldn't go up those streets for as many days or whatever. And then that the people that were having work done would have to adjust their schedule.
Mr. Keller, do you still have that list?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a list of those vendors and sod companies?
The sod companies, I'd have to look for it and see, but I'd have to see if I could find those, Jerry.
Make sure we're gonna try to find out who they are.
Okay. Well,
Because normally we would make them pay for it.
right, well, we tried to, but they, you know, and the homeowner was supposed to be responsible for it, and they said, no, we're not gonna pay for it, we can't help what the sod company does. But the problem is that when you got two people fighting back and forth, it's kind of hard to judge who's gonna pay for this and who's gonna pay for that. And we've got to do a little bit better job control on this, is what I'm trying to say, that's why I brought it up.
Okay, thanks for the heads up, so we headed it off.
We'll check with them before, so we can make sure that doesn't happen.
Correct.
Thank you.
See, Mark and Jerry, we don't know what these trucks, I don't use the term here, GVW. Their GVW could be 40,000 pounds. If they're coming in here to do a job, they can run 45,000 pounds. We don't know what they do. So it's up to somebody to, you know, how do you look at that? You measure the depth of their tire on the road. That's the problem. You know nobody to do that.
Well, we can also tell the guard shack people that very same day, make sure you tell them what roads to avoid.
Jerry, I think one of them was Murphy sod, and the other, and this happened on the same day the road was paved, okay? So it didn't have time to cure anything. And another one was a vendor that came in with his trailer that didn't pull his tongue up on his trailer and left a great big old groove down our brand new street. So,
Would it be wise for Jerry to put the horses up, block the street off, not for cars? Your car GVW is not that heavy.
Well, we know about ahead of time, then we can do that with code enforcement.
It would sure save the problem by blocking them off.
I just wanted to mention real quick that the admin office is now accepting cash. Starting today.
Do we have any other comments? All right, Ron, come on.
Ron Ross, Unit 6. Good to see you back on your feet.
thank you, sir.
To the Brookridge Board of Directors, Ron Ross, Unit 6. Good to see you back on your feet.
Thank you, sir.
To the Brookridge Board of Directors, for the Fish Group, via Ron Ross, May 25th, 2021. The last several Brookridge meetings, questions have been raised, and at one point a statement was made that I, Ron Ross, had not replied to questions raised by a resident. I refrained from getting into a he said scenario, but questions were answered before that statement was made at the board meeting. In order to advise all of our Brookridge residents and to relieve any anxiety attached to this letter, you should find two documents. One is related to the food pantry, the other relates to volunteer drivers. The Fish Friends and Service Here group is a diverse group of over 37 Brookridge residents, and their only goal is to be of service to their neighbors. It's not a clique. We do not know each other. We are not a close group of friends. We are simply a group of residents that saw a need in the community that we love and live in and decided that we could do something about it. Please read the documents into the record. We hope that this satisfies people's questions. If there are additional questions, please feel free to attend any Fish meeting and join with others who are working to help their fellow residents and make Brookridge a better place. Respectfully, Ron Ross. By acceptance, and this is in regards to the food pantry, by acceptance of this food box or an individually prepared meal that undersigned person or persons acknowledge they have reviewed the foods presented and removed or will not partake of any that have been acknowledged of that will directly affect any of their known medical conditions. By signing this agreement, I hereby revoke my right to legal action due to my indiscretion in consuming these foods. I also acknowledge that these foods were given to me without charge, and the giver is presenting these under the Florida Good Samaritan Act as entitled to all the protection and protections afforded them by this legislation. For our volunteer drivers, the drivers will sign this. As a member of the Fish Group, Friends and Service Here, that is volunteered to transport Brookridge residents to and from certain appointments or grocery shopping trips, you understand by your signature below that persons that you transport in your personal automobile are covered under your existing automobile policy. You also acknowledge that you are volunteering your said services under the Florida Good Samaritan Act and all the protections that this legislation affords you. These documents, both the food pantry document and students given out, as well as anybody receiving transportation from a Fish volunteer will sign before they go anywhere. So I just wanted to get those written into the records. I'll give a copy to Arlene. She can include them with the board's records. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Next question, Mayor.
Hi, I'm Roger Logan from Unit 4. I'm also an employee of this Brookridge. The other night I could work at the guard shack, and Sunday, and I have a Sunday night and Monday morning, and so I slept all day yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to ask my captain about this. Tony and I were sitting in the guard shack Monday morning, and it was dripping water from the ceiling on our heads. There's no insulation in that ceiling because they replaced it last year and they threw the old insulation out and never put any back in. And if you know about condensation, cold air and hot air, and it drips. And you got thousands of dollars of equipment and wiring in there and it's dripping. Just started this month. That humidity just went up 2 or 3 months ago. It hasn't done it. Just started Monday morning. So if you're going to replace the floor, you can get a couple of bags of insulation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay.
Vivian Blair, Unit 4. I just want to make a comment to Mr. Ross. People have to be responsible for themselves. They have to know if they have an allergy, whether they should or shouldn't eat something, just like people have to be responsible for themselves, whether they want to participate in something at Brookridge, whether it's in their budget or not. It's not up to someone else to say, no, we're not having that because people can't afford it. Thank you.
Okay, Ron, do you have no comment?
Ron, Roger, 6, hate to bring this up, but just as a piece of information on the poker run, and I'm glad you bring the food truck in. But a couple questions come to mind, because I know when we tried to bring food trucks in before, we had everything pretty set, and then they had a little trouble with their license, that's the reason I asked. When they come in, are we an additional insured on their insurance, because that's what covers Brookridge? And do we have copies of their license? And I can't read my other little note. Are they on any kind of a contract with us? I know when we were looking at bringing food trucks in before, that the attorney said we needed those, so just, I wanted to bring those up. Might have already gotten done, but, and that's cool.
Glad you mentioned that, because, no, we have checked out their insurance, and we are not included as an additional insured. So I can ask them.
Yeah, you'll go back to them and just have, their agent can simply add it as a rider onto their deck page, show it as additional insured, and they can even put a date on it, so it's covered, and it just covers workers back in there.
Yeah, yeah, and I do recall seeing that when we were looking at the contracts for the roof, that BCPO would be the additional insured, so
That's
shame
good.
on me for not knowing that.
Okay, any other comments from the audience? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? We have moved. Second by Mickey. Okay.
You didn't beat my time though, Jerry.
Okay. All in favor of adjourning the meeting? Raise your hand and say aye.
Bill did. She said, oh, and then we all.